I am Andrew Thomas. Last year, my assistant Dawn White and I researched and filmed the haunted areas at Furnace Town. Now we are back to find out more haunted encounters at Furnace Town. Last year, we went to Furnace Town and interviewed the former executive director Patrick Rolfe about any ghostly experiences that happened in Furnace Town.
Well, there was one that was just the other week. This one is, I think, has a lot of credibility because the two people who were visiting Furnace Town had never been here before. They were from New York State, and it was a husband and wife, and they came in and started their tour just like everyone else does. And then about an hour into their tour, they stopped back by. It was very hot that day, so they were coming out of the weather as well. But she seemed a little shook up, and so I started to inquire as to why that might be. And she started to mention the places where, as they went around in their tour, they visited each of the buildings. And so I know that each of the buildings has a particular energy to it that other people can sense. And without her having any familiarity, she picked them all spot on. So the Harrison House, which is right next door to the visitor center here, she got spooked there, didn't even want to go in the church. And then quite spooked in the blacksmith shop, she actually claims to have seen spirit of Samson Harmon, the famous resident from Furnace Town.
Samson Harmon was moved to the Elms House in Berlin, Maryland, approximately 22 miles from his preferred home at Furnace Town at the age of 106, and he died a year later. Samson Harmon might be haunting Furnace Town to this day. We also headed to the blacksmith shop to interview Matt Kemp last year about his ghostly experience at Furnace Town.
I also do demonstrations of blacksmithing, talk to guests who wander into the shop, and general information about the site. I don't know if I would say they're supernatural. I will say there are things that happen here that are unexplainable with the amount of information mankind has at this point in time. Most days in the blacksmith shop between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock, something shows up in the shop. Sometimes it's as early as 2 in the afternoon, but most days between 2 and 4, something comes through the shop. Normally I'm working on the anvil, I catch movement out of the corner of my eye, I look up, there's absolutely nothing in the shop besides me and the normal things that are here. I can feel a presence of some sort, not sure exactly what it is. It normally hangs around for anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes and then exits through the double doors. Normally comes in the front of the shop, goes through the double doors and out.
Last year, I interviewed ghost story writer Andy Nunez about his paranormal experience at Furnace Town.
I think the first experience that I had like that, I was at Furnace Town near Snow Hill with a group of young investigators, and one of them was staying beside me before we went down to the furnace, and all of a sudden he bent over and held himself by the stomach and fell to his knees, and he says, I'm freezing. Now this, you have to realize, was in the middle of the night on a hot July evening. There were mosquitoes buzzing, and we were in short sleeves, but he was freezing cold. And so I reached out my hand to him, and I said, Mike, what's wrong? And all of a sudden it was like somebody put an ice cube tray on the back of my hand, my left hand, and then my right hand, and then it was gone like that. And he was fine. Can I explain that? No, I can't explain that. Can I say it was ghosts? No, I can't say that either, because I don't know.
The church at Furnace Town used to be near the Pocomoke Forest where only a lonely gravesite stands. Last year, we filmed the Chesapeake Ghost Tour at Furnace Town and interviewed the tour guide, Christopher Wright, about what they do.
Actually do just what you see on TV. We go to a couple of these buildings, we sit in the dark and use the actually the paranormal investigating team that we have on hand uses their equipment to see if they can detect any spirits and or whatever may be haunting that building. Many things have been experienced here at the Furnace Town. Of course, many of the buildings have come from different locations, can have attachments with them that brought them here. Not just the furnace itself, but I'm sure that it plays a huge part on bringing these spirits together. It's such a quiet, great place in the middle of nowhere.
Hunters about what they do.
Same thing, we probably each had our own experiences. We want to know more. We want to be able to explain it and to help other people.
Scientific. It wasn't like you've seen in the past where a psychic sat in a room and saw something that nobody else could see, where ghost hunters actually set up equipment. We're documenting poltergeists, getting EVPs, and I think it opened up the rest of us to be more comfortable to come out with our stories and get together as groups and do the same thing and try to get our own answers. We had, it varied. We had really hits with the K2 meters.
Temperature fluctuations, possible anomalies on the SLS camera, which we have to look into to make sure that we're false hits.
We talked to the new executive director, Jessica Evans, about any of her experiences at Furnace Town and what she wants for the future at Furnace
A
Town.
lot every day. I am responsible for taking care of a village, an entire village. If a store has their own story. I'm the only one without a story right now. I'm just waiting to be able to tell my story. People hear footsteps in this building. People will feel like there are people with them in the building and call out to people and get no answer because there is no one in the building. A lot of people hear noises. A lot of people have feelings. Like I said, I'm waiting. I consider myself someone who is completely open to the possibility that there is something out there that I can't explain.
The Furnace Town, if you dare, to learn about the interesting history or go to the nearest exit.